Hello everybody, it's Jay Brayson here on a lovely Sunday afternoon. So, we have completed our search and alteration. We're up to level 3. Soon enough we'll be up to level 4, although our search speed has taken quite a battering. In the future we may be going up Thaumaturgy a little bit. There's some panic type stuff in there. There's also Communion Master type things, which are going to be really important for us. So, what else is going on? So, Battle in Algord, where you got on Scratty with, I think, a Frost brand or a Fire brand or some kind of brand anyway. Went into Province, yeah, so they've only got a Fire brand. So they'll die to Cav. Over in Numecria, sorry, that's Algord. Over in Numecria, they attacked with, let's see what happened here. Okay, a bunch of Garm Hidlinger. Let's see what occurred. It looks like we are on course to lose this one. Looks like Atlantis, who I spoke to about potentially attacking Utgard, is actually attacking Utgard. I also spoke to Abyssia about it. Battle in Siberia. Let's see what happened here. Looks meaty, but hey, so do we. Okay, so they just the guy casting Gift of Flight just decided to send some PD like light infantry out, which is pretty good. Okay, so nothing special has been added to their bless. I don't think. I think they've got some extra. In fact, I don't think they have anything extra. I'm surprised. I thought they had a throne or two. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so as you can see, cavalry actually completely dumpsters Garmhedlinger, even more than I thought they would. So the battle's last turn against Independence were not so good. Well, not against Independence, where troops were unscripted rather, were not so good. This really shows the value of using attack rather than fire orders on your Barbarian Heavy Horse, because yeah, when they were firing at the Garmhedlinger, they just got dumpstered. When they attack, like en masse, absolute rout. Let's have a look at our casualties over here. So we lost 5 Barbarian Heavy Horsemen and 2 Heavy Footmen. You know what, I'll take it. I'll take it. Over in Ting Woods, they attacked. I don't rate this guy's chances too heavily. Let's see if he gets away. Yep, he's gonna get away. Okay. Great Woods. That is a bunch of random stuff and some Scythecona. That's cool. They formed the world's tiniest communion. That's lovely. Okay, and they're casting Horde of Skeletons. Okay, fair enough. Good for them. Good for them. Okay. And then Fenatice. So these are the guys that took the cave. Have they? Is this their? No, it isn't their prophet. It's our prophet. Our prophet's cast Divine Bless. Okay, that makes more sense. As you can see, any kind of like flying type stuff, especially that's ethereal, is just gonna really inconvenience Garmhedlinger. So we're going to turn around to do it, and then at that point they just get hit by a bunch of, you know, as you can see, his defense score is really low because these guys, due to their extremely high number of attacks, proc loads and loads of harassment, basically. Alright, we might lose a couple to Holy Avenger. That's a shame. Yep. That's pretty inconvenient, but so be it. Okay, so overall, we lost one battle and we rinsed their Garmhedlinger pretty badly. Alm's trying to break out with shitty wolves. This isn't how you do it for anyone watching. Use rangers instead. People's Arena, so I'm sending my guy with a Heartseeker's sword to the arena. That's maybe dubious. I could probably use him elsewhere, but at the end of the day, it would be funny to win. And he's got pretty decent stats, so I don't know which. In fact, I'm going to just give that to Fully Thundering Over the Steps to ensure that it's not lost when he has to put on a slave collar. So yeah. So the Heartfinder sword is MR negates. The People's Arena slave collar actually reduces your MR, so it's going to be even more devastating than normal. I mean, his hit points are not too good, so so that's a risk, but hopefully he survives. Good luck to him, and potentially does in some really massively expensive mages, or just, you know, independent commanders, whatever people send, really. I'm thinking maybe these guys are going to send like a Scratir with a brand of some kind. Them having a Frost brand suggests they've been trading with people, maybe with LA Atlantis, but I guess we'll just have to find out. Vettiheim has been increased to a Citadel. I don't know when they did that. I wasn't paying terribly great attention, but that means it's going to be slightly annoying to siege. Hopefully Abyssia I've encouraged to attempt, so hopefully they attack him a bit, but hopefully Atlantis kind of sticks around on Vettiheim for a little while I gobble up some more of its territory. I've offered, as is the way of the steppe people, some peace to these guys if they leave. Yeah, we'll see what happens. If they take me up on the offer, then I'm all for it, but if they don't, perfectly happy to fight them. Depending how these battles go, I may take these lakes over. It's just some extra provinces, and we could do with the income. Looks like Pythium is preaching on its capital. Now, that means the only way that we're going to defeat them is likely by military force, or potentially by casting Melancholy on them. That would be a fun way to own them. What Melancholy does, I think it's Thaumaturgy 6, I want to say. Yeah, there we go. Dominion's reduced quite a bit. Although it says 1 to 2. I think it's a little bit lower than that, but anyway, so be it. It would actually be quite a good spell to cast at both Ulm and Pangaea, because the Stymphalian birds do not have terribly good MR or morale. Same as the Harpies. Obviously, the Centaur Cataphracts is going to be mostly immune to it, but yeah. We are going to attack Ulm. 2 reasons. 1, it's funny. 2, it shows our overwhelming majesty. 3, it's funny again, and it's also exactly what Pangaea did to Pythium, so it'd be, you know, be one of those. Actually, maybe I won't, because maybe, I don't know, this guy hasn't been found though, so you'd think if he was like patrolling with any of this stuff, he would have been found. So we'll just attack with it and just keep it there. I don't know, maybe Pangaea wants some like a zoo though, because you can see there's some Black Templars in there, so maybe they're going, hey, one of these turns I'll give you range of light back and you can go and reclaim this from JB, but I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it. Who knows about the schemes of others, eh? Now, I didn't know this, but looks like Katis has gone AI, so that would possibly explain the mental attack they did on Jomon. As to how Jomon's doing, I don't know. If Jomon attacks, if Pangaea attacks rather, I think Jomon should attack Pangaea, and I just have no idea what AI Katis is going to be doing with Utgard and with Jomon and with Pangaea going forwards. Our territory at the moment, I mean, as I said, we're like one of those powers in contention. It looks like at the moment, at least, there's no real runaway kind of power. I think probably Atlantis, if left alone with all this masses of infrastructure, is going to be an extremely hard fight. But I mean, beyond that, there's nothing really too much to say. Utgard, I think, has probably made a mistake by attacking me instead of just working with me in a kind of constructive way, but then I would say that because I'm on the receiving end of the attack. If he moves his PG into this province, he's probably going to lose it, but he might. I am breaking with Jurong. I'm going to use Spirit Curse on the off chance that his PG does come out, just to cause additional afflictions, because if we can potentially feeble-mind it, then we can actually get rid of this global of the rogue, which we assuredly do not want him to have. And another point about that is that basically it's just storing up gems for him to use for Gift of Health and Enchanted Forest and so on, which again we do not want him to cast. So any chance we can feeble-mind or in other ways rather kind of inconvenience him, then all the better. Anyway, I am going to leave it there. That's the sound of a British ambulance in the background. It's lovely. And yeah, have a good rest of your day, and take care. Hello everybody, it's turn 30 in the game Gamers as LATC. So we've taken control of some provinces. We fought off Guard over here. We basically won every battle but one, although the battles were smaller than I was anticipating. This Jotun werewolf was particularly unlucky and retained its orders from the last battle they were scripted in. So on turn 0, start off as the Jotun werewolf, and then change form, and turns into a Jotun wolf with 25 HP and no blade. So you may or may not be surprised to see how this one goes. Yeah, bye. The world's most naked aggression is continuing to take place over there. I capped Elm's capital as a joke, and now I'm moving off. The good old guys at Flower Meadow Forest have found some dust walkers, which is okay. There must be a site over there that you can sit in and produce them. It's going to be a nightmare to fight these guys if we end up fighting them, by the way. Which, of course, we will at some point, because there can be only one. So, right, and over here we lost a bunch of shit, which is unfortunate. Unfortunate. I also realised about a million or so turns ago, right? I was doing this while just checking the audio levels on some other videos, which you may or may not be surprised to know we're a little low. Apparently I started off building a palisade here and then just like completely forgot and moved the guy off, so I'm sorry if that's been, if you were like shouting at the screen 50 turns ago, but yeah, don't worry, I've noticed it now. Right, over in Glade Woods, I'm just trying to think of where to go. I would assume his PG and as many of his troops as possible are going to go to Arisia, right? Because that would be the most obvious place for me to attack. So I'm trying to think of a good strategy that doesn't involve doing that, and instead involves going more into this territory kind of area over here. Maybe I'll attack Bama, I don't know. Leader over here is just some Yongura. It wasn't a difficult province, I just messed up the scripting on it basically. And what's over here? Some more of these dudes. Still don't have any heroes who've arrived. In terms of the arena, so we can maybe have a watch for all the battles, but the main thing we can know is we didn't win, rip. Guy completely blew up a bunch of people, unsurprisingly, although I don't think a single one of them died to the Heartfinder's sword, as luck would have it. So yeah, so this guy kills the bird. See, this was profit, so if we took him out that would have been really good, but there we are. We actually get repelled on the first two attacks. We don't do any damage with the hoof attack, which, I mean, so be it. And then the turn after, we're instantly killed by a rhyme hammer to the face. So, yeah, that's how it goes. The attack roll was really high. To be fair, that's 10 on 2d6 versus a defense roll of not that high. So, yeah. So we got some decent prot in there. But, ultimately, you take 12 damage, you're going to die as a human if you take it to the face. So we've regained most of our territories. I'm going to take at least Whispering Wastes, I would hope. This whole mess is like, you know, what can you say really? What can you say? Maybe this will encourage him to move back over here. Who the heck knows? Because I don't really want to be fighting this stuff. It's not that we probably wouldn't win, because ultimately we're like smart enough to put some guys around places so that we don't get the our mages immediately killed in the face by the most basic and easy to anticipate panic tactics, but yeah, still we're gonna suffer some casualties almost inevitably, and it's not going to be convenient. Maybe Jomon will attack him. Maybe I'll have a word with Jomon about going into that, because as we can see, Utgard is already hugely under siege and getting attacked everywhere by Atlantis after their decision to attack me. So yeah. So yeah, probably want to get Whispering Waste, because the more waste provinces we have, the better in terms of searching to, fingers crossed, eventually find a province with some fire magic in it, which is our long-term strategic goal, because the best way to fight especially Atlantis later on is to try and capitalise on as many and varied sources of damage as possible. Since they're going to be able to put up like Stygian rains and stuff, it's also important to have fire arrows as a potential source of additional magical damage on top of everything else. So yeah, there's like a whole number of good reasons to want and use fire magic against Eleabissia. Might go up evocation to 6 next, assuming our next war is probably going to be against Atlantis, or well, ultimately Evo 6 is just a good thing to have when you're playing LATC, because Wailing Winds is a really obnoxious spell to fight into, basically, because with the mechanics of how fear checks work, especially in Dumb 5, it's potentially pretty dangerous to fight into any province, but especially one you could run away from, because running away is unbelievably dangerous in this game. It's a shame we don't have a Khan here, but you know what? Why tarry on about things that are a shame? So there we are. Now, depending on how many Scythecoder are in this army, we could potentially be setting ourselves up for trouble attacking into that. I don't think these Garmhidlinger can really like go anywhere or do very much. It's possible we get attacked back in Algod by the guys in Blackdale, or it's possible that Boeing decides to move back into Vettiheim with these guys, have them on patrol and see what they can do in an attempt to defend themselves. It's really tricky, I would say. This guy is just going to attack straight into there. God, hopefully Abyssia doesn't at the exact same time, but you know, it wouldn't be game losing, it would just be inconvenient. So yeah. Actually, to be honest, I think if we actually did just gather everything like some kind of like dog newbie, and just attacked into this province, we might actually have a relatively high level of success, because we've got quite a lot of sacreds, and these sacreds are strong, you know, at the end of the day they are strong. So probably get them in a double line, going over here, attacking rear, and doing our best, you know. Now we have a Shademare Habergian, our Quill and Implementer Axe. An Implementer Axe is not too useful just yet, but it might come in handy a bit later, for in case we want to raid just that additional extra bit more. It's also a wearable source of fear, which is occasionally useful. As we get higher up into Conjuration as well, like later on, we can potentially summon some additional flying guys like the Fairy Queen, and you could give the Fairy Queen an Implementer Axe and she'll be the cutest, most terrifying being on the planet when it comes to destroying enemy infrastructure. She's also just a good source of air magic for things like casting Fog Warriors, so yeah. It's possible not Pangaea, it's possible Pythium breaks out their capital and goes into Chilad. You actually can't stop someone moving one province outside of a forted province, so long as you don't hold it already. Like if I cloud trap someone on here, wouldn't matter, they would still move out so long as they're only moving one province. That's just a quirk of the engine. So there's no point cloud trapping someone on there to try and forestall an attack on Chilad or any province like that. If they're going to go anywhere, ideally they'll go Fungwood, and then those two guys could fight in there and cause a big ruckus towards one another. That would be great. Now, because of the intervention of Atlantis in the war down here, we need to be concentrating our attempted gains, like in this neck of the woods. So this province is still recruiting quite a lot of heavy horsemen. We are going to get this one as well recruiting. Probably that's actually preferable to getting additional recruits over there. So more of that, please. The reason I'm building quite a lot of priests is not only to buff sacred troops, but it's also because if Ogada is trying to use as many Horde of Skeletons cast as possible, banishment remains quite a long time into the game as a useful way to deal with Horde of Skeleton spam, provided that you have at least like a reasonably comparable level of mages casting banishment. Now there are what, 16? Okay, 14 Garm Hitlinger and a Jotun Gerda there. With the forces moving into this province, we should be at least okay. Let's rename Yuli Jing. Okay. And let's just have these guys continue preaching, maybe. They're down to 2 candles, so they're looking pretty low. I don't know what Pangaea... Well, I have obviously suspicions about what Pangaea is doing here, but I don't know how ready they are to actually commit to it. So we're in a bit of a quandary in that respect. Now, Ulm may or may not continue to just try and use wolves on the grounds that that's what they have. If they do, we don't have to care about them. We're going to be fine. But if they start, I don't know, using something weird like, well, I'm not sure what they even have in terms of magic at this point. Because I think they rinsed the handful of mages that they had attacking into Pangaea the first time. So, yeah, I think they're mostly just going to have some Astral magic, which is not so good for summoning troops. At least not in a cost-effective way. I love the Ether Gate, but I would never say that it's an affordable or reasonable way to, you know, go into go into anything, even in terms of having a source of recruitable units that's good at fighting magical beings, which they are. They just cost an absolute fortune. So they're a little less reasonable than you might hope, which is a shame, but so be it. I think we just maybe patrol here. Now we know this province is relatively valuable because again, when editing videos, oh yeah, now I remember. So this province over here actually has way higher income than normal. So at some point in the future, we'll probably want to go back in there and try and sort things out. There's no need for this guy to search because it's been searched. So I need to think of better ways to spend his time. These guys can move in, that's absolutely fine. What's this? Oh, haste, okay. Well, that's okay, that's an alright script. We'll get him up there. Haste, and then maybe some luck. We don't have all that many astral mages down here, but the ones we do have, I guess we can have like cast some luck. It's not great, let's face it, but it is a tiny bit of something. The other thing we could cast, I guess, is some cold res spells, because ultimately we may end up fighting like Jotun wolves and stuff, and his Jotun wolves, at least at the moment, are going to have a chill aura on them, so I don't know if you know this, sorry, if you're into like episode 30, you're probably, you know, relatively familiar with the game and patient with my foibles, and thank you for that. So you may or may not know, but on the magical like cast specific spell list, if you press the magical paths shortcut, so W for example, you can bring up only spells of that type. So that's how I quickly found Winter Ward in that one. This feels like an insanely basic way to play this. I don't know. It's turn 30. I feel like I should be trying a little bit harder, and we should probably have more magic available to us, but we just don't. So yeah. Let's make sure and get two guys in there. Building a fortress. I don't know if that's a mistake or not. Maybe we'll just move this guy over as far as possible to... in fact, you know what? We'll go absolutely insane and give him the Shade Mahalbergian, and have him walk over to here without taking part in the fight, because, you know, he could lose. Or we could not do that. What the hell am I doing? Come on, JB, let's be sensible. Let's move him in, because if they do end up using a bunch of skeletons, then actually it's probably best to have as many guys as possible in here to deal with that, rather than just going, oh well, I'm not sure I can commit. That's fine, we'll just go for it. Sibragol over here is probably worth taking just as a backup commander, or we could move him up into Jura Woods and get some more troops. After we fight into Arisia, we are probably going to want to claim it. I might save some gold over to have some more for like PD and so on when we actually take the province over, which, I mean, hopefully we do. These guys can stay researching. I think that's reasonable. Jalal can just chill. It's not impossible that he goes into the Hidden Realm with the guys from Monarch Woods as well, because we both know that it's quite a valuable province. Maybe I'll have these guys on attack rear up here. We've got enough an income that we can send this guy in on doing some little diddy stuff like protection and so on, I guess. Don't know, that's pretty weak, but sure, why not? Doesn't even need nature gems for it. Just take him along. And then he can at least be useful to put up a lab, because his RP output is not terribly high, so we're not exactly missing a whole bunch of stuff. Obscuro can maybe just research or wait in the province, I don't know. He was going to cast Gift of Flight. Summon Lesser Elemental may or may not come in handy. I don't know, they got beaten up last time, but they did at least help to disrupt things a little bit, so yeah, why not? And remember to attack with him, because he's an illusionist, he automatically has glamour, so it's quite easy to mess that up with Obscuro, but yeah, it's okay, we're wise to it. I am going to get Miguel's sons. I literally can't remember what these guys are, and I'm not going to go looking it up on the Mod Inspector. We are losing quite a lot of scouts over here to like surprisingly massive amounts of patrollers. I don't know. I mean, it's not like quote unquote bad play on his part, it's just really odd to be patrolling with that much stuff. Just in random provinces. But yeah. Over here, I don't know, maybe we'll take it at some point, but we don't, there's no real hurry to do it right now. Might get some more recruitment up here, might get another Celestial Master out, just to try and get some more sorts of like guaranteed decent air and water magic, because at the moment, like we don't have all that much, and water magic can come in handy when you're fighting nations that use a lot of chill aura, as we showed earlier. Let's get these guys in here. Let's take this province and then go back out into here, and then probably spread out a little bit, just have a word with Atlantis about how we're going to divvy up this area, probably move across into like down into Barn, into Giffer, and then go from there. I don't know. We'll see what happens, I guess. That's such a non-statement, I apologise. So leave this guy here. As I say, it'll depend on his strategy about what happens in Bettyheim. So it could be the case that Atlantis just goes into Saran Forest instead. Or they might be prioritising attacking enemy forts first to try and get as much, guaranteed income out of the operation as they can. I don't know what Germon's doing, so that's a whole other interesting wrinkle into the game. Because it could be that they are already being scary to Pangai, or they might even be fighting Kalem, or they might just not really be doing anything. Maybe they're fighting Katis. They're sort of the other side of the world from us, so it's a little bit, a little bit tricky to find out super easily. But hopefully we do. Hopefully we do eventually. Maybe we take this. I don't know. Bindar's Mighty Markata. If they land on it, they land on it. That's fine. But they're not gonna fight their way out of all the stuff in this province. Let's put it that way. The great unknown continues to be Pangaea. Like, this is the most obvious setup for an attack. These guys could well be moving down as well, and he's just trying to coalesce like 500 dudes on our border, but if he comes in, we'll fight him. If he doesn't, he doesn't. If we can get Jomon to help us, that would be really beneficial, because Jomon and Pangaea are a relatively good match in terms of both being stronger in melee combat than on ranged. Because Pangaea, well, it has like crossbow people. They are not super like decent, so the Satyr Sniper has far too low morale. They also cost 24 res, unreasonable. Sentry Day Crossbow, I mean, they're okay, but they're 30 gold and they're 34 resources, you know, they're somewhat equivalent to our heavy cav, basically, but with higher rank values, and they don't have a hat on. They are just not that great, but they do have recuperation. So if they kind of win an arrow duel, they but take some, like, you know, take some dents, as you sometimes do, they can at least recover from that. But if his main like arm is going to be Centaur Cataphracts and Stymphalian birds, Jomon and him are just going to be able to go at it hammer and tongs, and potentially damage each other quite badly. Might be worth keeping scouts posted along this border, just to see what AI Katis is up to, and we'll go from there. I apologise how long this has run. I can feel that it's run a long time. Some episodes are just like that, I think, you know. If I was Abyssea, I might go into Great Woods rather than Nilmeria, but I'm not. I'm not playing that guy. So there you are. The reason that I would, incidentally, is because of it then cutting off potential extra source of access to 122. Plausibly, he knows about these sites as well. If he's brought a magic having assassin over here, and this is like a decent site, which is good commanders to have as any nation, but especially as Abyssea, which doesn't ordinarily have very good EN access, although it can make very good use of it. So yeah, but plausibly he'll just go into Numeria and he'll go, oh, you know what, great, this is good, now I can take out Blackdale, get a, you know, province 100, make a few quid, you know, all good. Very, very happy with that result if that's what happens. If we get like 100 crossbows in the face and a bunch of Horde of skeletons against a Khan with 250 gold worth of units, that's not a super big deal. And the province itself is really good, so hopefully we do get it. But yeah, if all these, if like 1,000 gold's worth of stuff comes in and stops them, you know, who am I to complain about that at the end of the day? That's the kind of trades we've been making against Niflheim in reverse, more or less. Just trying to think if there is a way we can take this province. It's plausible. I could have this guy teleport in the magic phase to try to prevent any reinforcements ending up in Erissia, but I guess it's a mountain province, and Niflheim doesn't have mountain survival on its giants, so that's probably just a waste. So I think I'm just going to go in there and we're just going to fight it out. After we're done with that, yeah, definitely pull back this way, try and take as much of this area as possible. This bit is just a write-off, like Atlantis is going to have this. This is going to be slightly contested among the Allies, and we're just going to have to try and think of a way to fight Atlantis in future, because they're going to be pretty strong. I don't want to say Utgard's dead, because at the end of the day they're not, but certainly it's not going to be a convenient battle for them to fight us. So yeah, certainly much less easy than they thought it would be as well, I would imagine. Gonna call it there. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and goodbye.